ties of Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Malik Beasley continues his run. Here we go with the pace again of Jordan McLaughlin.
And he hits another. Beasley, that has been his forte. He's got another. Beasley out of the corner. Another triple for Threesley.
Malik Beasley.
Thank you, sir. I'll have another.
Unconscious.
Beasley. Oh, he's got 6. McLaughlin ahead to Beasley. Malik is absolutely on fire.
You know what to do. Get the flag, Judd.
Had it already. I was waving it as Threesley. Threesley into the King. Take that.
Never a doubt. Never doubted him.
Why would you ever consider trading Malik Threesley? Why?
I would have traded him last night.
I mean, who has been calling for Malik Threesley to be traded? I don't know. You guys are idiots out
Threesley.
there. Okay?
Threesley, Beasley. I would have traded him last night.
Mackey and Judd, daily Minnesota sports, entertainment, speculation, therapy, etc. And I brought this up as we were trying to figure out Royce's connection earlier today. But yeah, I do check the NBA standings, sometimes multiple times per day, just to see. You never know. Never know what's gonna change. And I usually, just for full disclosure, I'll scope out, okay, how close are the Wolves to climbing up another peg? Like they're 7th right now. They're a game back of Denver, and they're 2.5 back of the Mavericks, and they're only 4 back of the Jazz. So but what I mostly check the standings for is, because it's the Timberwolves. 17 years of just, whack-a-mole. They're just hitting you upside the head as a fan. Is how far are they separated from the 11 seed in terms of securing a spot at least in the play-in game. Mm-hmm. And as of this morning, they are 9 games clear of the Portland Trailblazers, who just waved the white flag by trading C.J. McCollum. And
Hold on. I gotta get the flag.
So they're pretty much in. They're pretty much in. That's right.
The playing game.
I love the Blazers, by the way. They're like, don't worry, we're just clearing space for free agents to sign and play with Dame Lillard. It's like Dame Lillard's 32 now. All of you guys blew this. Dame
they can
blew
take
it.
care of their own house, okay? I'm letting them take care of their own house in Portland, Rip City.
So the Wolves are locked in right now to the 7 seed. They should beat the Kings again, fingers crossed. But I want to ask you guys, we touched on this yesterday. D'Lo made that comment about quiet-ass fans. Or maybe Monday we talked about this, where it was. And it kind of ruffled some people. We have quiet-ass fans, man. This organization's been garbage for, 17 years, but some might say for the better part of, 30-plus years. Need a little more. Maybe the players need to learn a little bit more about the history here. And so Johnny K wrote a piece about this in The Athletic. And then there was this exchange on Twitter yesterday. Jim Peterson, friend of the show, said every Timberwolves player and fan should read Johnny K's piece today. The players need to understand the team history as the fans learn to support this super hardworking group of players and coaches, which I think is a fair assessment. And D'Lo responded back and said, Jim, I'm just challenging our fans to adjust to this special team. If it's not too much to ask from here on, standing until we score to start the game would be cool. Love y'all. Peace. I think all this is fair. That arena, we need a John Taffer bar rescue situation for
the arena
the in arena everything,
yeah,
the aesthetic, the vibe. There's no tradition, it's just
it's a terrible arena.
I love John Taffer.
It's just a piece of crap.
Shut it down. Shut it down.
You're serving beer here. This is a disgrace. I can just see him
He's chewing
There's
out
rats in here. This is
You're getting people sick.
It's so good.
It is a piece of crap.
Arena atmosphere rescue with John
Yeah.
Taffer. That's
Let's call a spade a spade.
But it's not just the actual building. I mean, it's
right.
there's no. It's
Well, the more I think about this, and Johnny K's piece was insightful, and I agreed with lots of his points because these fans, like Phil, who's a prime example, have been dragged through a lot of crap. But the more I sort of think about this, and because it's not a huge story, but it's interesting. I go more and more to D'Angelo Russell's side, and here's why. I don't want my players held hostage by what they have to think about, by the sins of the past Wolves teams, which were built by morons like David Kahn. McHale was good at one time, but certainly lost his fastball. And the worst part is he seemingly did not care. But I don't want these guys to have to understand. No, that's not their job. Their job is to play basketball and win damn basketball games. And so I think D'Lo, in his point, because he's a very reasonable guy. Like, he is not a hothead who's just like spouting off and tries to be a great quote. I mean, he's incredibly thoughtful at times about basketball and non-basketball issues. But I don't want these guys to be like, well, yeah, I mean, this organization, if you look at it, they fans shouldn't be cheering. He said, I think the best part about his tweet to Jim Pete, and I agree with this potentially, but for him to think this is all that matters. This team seems different, and it does have a special quality. Now, that does not mean they are LOB contenders, okay? But what they are is they seem to be a team. They play like a team. They seem to enjoy. I mean, the Jimmy Butler playoff year was essentially a team that won enough games, but at times was pulling teeth. Mm-hmm. It looked miserable. It really did. The coach, Butler, the whole thing looked like it didn't work. And the fact that it didn't last long-term is not shocking. But yeah, I don't want these guys to be like, well, the sins of the previous team. So I go more and more towards D'Angelo. You go. You're right.
I think, and I don't know. I think he's right in that, okay, if we just look at this team in a vacuum, it's overachieving based on expectations. I mean, hell, Vegas had him at a 34.5 win total, and they're 5 games away from they might pass that in the next 2 weeks, way before the end of the season. Yeah. So in a vacuum, yeah, this team deserves to be celebrated more because they're finally they're becoming a viable team that can beat almost anybody on any given night. I don't think they can beat the Suns or the Warriors in a 7-game series, but could they fight Memphis in a 7-game series? Yes. And everyone behind Memphis? Absolutely. But where I agree with Jim Pete and Johnny K is, and what I would say to D'Lo is, be patient. You are literally talking about a generation of damaged fans. And I believe it was Kyle Teague, noted Wolves blogger, and I'm paraphrasing this because I don't have the tweet in front of me, but he said, there's probably no fan base in American sports the last 20 or 30 years that has invested more with almost zero return.
Sure.
And so Timberwolves fans almost deserve to be given the benefit of the doubt just based on everything the last 20 or 30 years. Like when those fans decide that it's okay, it's safe to come outside and actually cheer and invest your heart into this team a little bit, it will happen this year. That arena will be much more raucous at some point if they keep doing this.
But your PTSD is not the player's problem. As far as the business ops go, yeah. If you are like, well, I don't really want to buy tickets yet, or this guy, that's fine. But what I'm saying is the expectation of the players. I love this idea of, you know what, shut up and we are gonna go. It's go time now. It's been enough time of feeling sorry about, well, this franchise is been terrible, which it has been. I sort of like the players' mentality, though, of we're on to something here that's positive and might be special, and we are going to grab the fans by their collars and drag them and say, it's go time. So I like this coming from a player.
As long as it's not them getting mad and wondering what are these idiot fans? That's how the original D'Lo comment came off as he called them in passing, kind of called them quiet ass fans. But to me, when someone says it that, he said it without even really thinking, as if the players talk about it on a regular basis behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And I think all I would say is I love the dialogue between Jim Pete and D'Lo. D'Lo even took kind of the Minnesota passive aggressive. I'm going to read his tweet again. Hey Jim, I'm just gonna sneak. Just gonna sneak out by you there. I'm just challenging our fans to adjust to this special team. If it's not too much to ask, if I could just, how about standing until? No, I think he's trying to be respectful and polite.
Well,
I think he knows how it came off the first
I'm
time.
on his side, so I'm on.
And by the way, standing until the team scores to start the game, I think the Lynx have been doing that for a long time.
Yes.
So can we get this has always been my beef with fellow Minnesota sports fans. Like even Twins playoff games at Target Field, it's this pins and needles. Like, oh God, people telling each other to sit down during playoff games. Like I'm telling you, when the Twins went to the playoffs for the first time at Target Field in 2010, and I was covering the team as a beat writer, I was witnessing people yell at other fans for standing up during the game.
You got to come to the
It's a freaking playoff game against the Yankees at Target Center or at Target Field.
Yeah, nuh-uh. We're drinking at the X.
The X has a great playoff.
We're saying Crawford.
I'm with you there. So let's. But here's the thing. At least like the Wild have been competitive enough, and they've been to the playoffs enough, and they've had some star players where like there's a little swagger still, even though they've never actually like been to the Stanley Cup. There's a little swagger. It's the state of hockey. It's like there's this branding behind it.
Yeah.
There's no, from a branding standpoint, from a performance standpoint, like there's no reason for Wolves fans to feel swagger.
Sure, but I want the players to encourage that, and I think that in a lot of ways this does that. And look, I'm sure that the guy who is most PO'd is Pat Bev, because that guy is so intense, and he is continually trying to get the fans jacked up. I'm just saying I like a lot of things about this Wolves team from a mentality standpoint. Can't say that about a lot of the Wolves teams in, let's say, the last 17 to 18 years.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dex.
I was going to say, we've been having a lot of like semi-breaking news. We recorded Purple Daily. We have another one here.
Wow.
That relates to the Wolves, too.
I'll hit you here.
Trade?
They traded for Lillard.
Not a trade.
They traded
Beasley
D'Lo.
gone?
D'Lo's gone after his controversial comments.
Actually, it's no one involved on the current Wolves. Former friend of the show, Gerson Rosas, is joining the New York Knicks as a consultant, according to Mark Stein.
Okay.
The Stein line. So the Knicks are eyeing Gerson Rosas as a consultant.
Interesting.
In
So
New York in the Big Apple.
Rosas has a long history with Leon Rose and CAA. Leon Rose, he's the GM now, right?
Yes, and he was
the Pobo,
longtime head of the agency, I think.
According to Mark Stein, the Knicks have declined his request for comment. He was with team officials in Denver last night, so I don't know if there was a +1 to that gathering or not.
I was going to say, I wonder if that. Well, Big Apple's got plenty of opportunity.
Get the flag.
Get the flag. Get the flag.
Hold on, I got it.
Come on, there you go. Get your PR person. You're good. Here we go.
Nikki, Timberwolves, thank you very much for the flag.
When it comes to the Timberwolves, I can tell you one of their longtime partners, just like ours, is Federated Mutual Insurance Company. Federated's been around helping business owners maximize the success and potential of their businesses since the early 1900s, and you can find out all about the resources and people that Federated can provide to help your business at federatedinsurance.com. And remember, at Federated, it's our business to protect yours. All right, we got to get to write that down predictions here and an accountability session. But the Timberwolves sitting pretty nice in the Western
Don't be
Conference.
quiet ass anymore.
Yeah, let's get loud.